Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Roberta Hladek is on our line. She's calling in from Las Vegas. Don't get excited when you hear about Las Vegas. She's not an entertainer like that. She's not at all the hotels doing that. She lives, I guess, is it northern Las Vegas?
We would be the southwest, I believe.
Oh, I really got that wrong. Southwest in Las Vegas. And I guess I never asked you this because, we're going to talk about the AIM program. It's a very important conversation. But how did you wind up in Las Vegas? And where are you from?
Well, I was born in the Midwest in Iowa. And I lived in Iowa and Minnesota and Michigan. And then my father was in the computer industry when it was first going, when circuit boards were like refrigerators. Uh-huh. Now they're these little tiny things. But then he was transferred to California. So I spent most of my life growing up in Southern California. And then when I met Stephen, we continued living in the Southern California beach areas. And then we all decided it was getting so crowded and it was so busy that we wanted to move somewhere that was a little bit less big city, maybe a little slower pace of life, and we landed in Las Vegas.
But that actually wasn't slower. Maybe where you moved to was, but, that's the most exciting place in the country.
Well, if you're right down on the strip in the heart of Las Vegas, yes, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of hustle and bustle. But if you go to the outlying areas in the suburbs, like we are in Summerlin, it's a little bit of a slower pace. Well, it's picking up now because we moved here. It's going to be 16 years. Huh. And so it's picked up quite a bit since we've moved here. I mean, we've increased our population. I don't know. It's probably 1 million people. I don't know. I'm not sure. 100,000 people. The numbers escape me, but we're getting up there now, and it's quite different than it was when we first moved here. But it's still a great place to live, so we're really thrilled that we made the move here.
I see. And is it less expensive to live if you're not in the major part of the city?
It's starting to catch up, but yes, considering California, oh yeah. Housing prices are a lot less, taxes, gas, groceries. Everything is a little bit less, I think, here. And I think it's probably, hopefully it's not, but it seems like things are going to be catching up with everybody else before too long.
Well, is it also like in South Florida that most people were not born here? They just arrived there?
Yeah, it's very different. There's hardly or rarely do you meet someone that has lived their entire life in Las Vegas, like born here and raised here. So, people do. It's kind of a melting pot. We come from all over. It seems like now we have this great influx of people from California. So that is kind of different.
What are the states in between California and Nevada? Is Arizona in between?
Arizona is just below us, and then above us we have Oregon.
Oh, okay, I got it now.
And Utah.
Yeah, I got it.
We're kind of all around there.
Oh, yeah. It's the West, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're
the Wild West.
The Wild West. No, well, that's good. Well, and I also know, and I want to just say this, that I think that Nevada was a lot easier to promote products that were not acceptable in some other states. Is that not true?
I don't know about that because with the AIM program, it would have been pretty easy for us to move anywhere. Maybe it was a little bit more open to new businesses coming in because they're very business orientated. Because they work on a service industry. I mean, everything here is service, the casinos and such. So maybe that way for businesses, it's a little easier to get things done and to work.
Well, the reason I say that is because I know when some nutraceuticals came out and some other things, they all seem to land up in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if it's because they didn't have as stringent rules and laws.
I think the laws are more favorable to business and that if you're talking about businesses moving here, probably also the taxes, probably like Florida,
right?
Your tax base. So when people are wanting to retire, I think they look, it used to always be everyone moved to Florida to retire.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are moving to Nevada as well for retirement, or Arizona seems to be a big one too.
Right. So that's what's happened and probably because it's good weather and it's less, big cities. It's a lot smaller.
I think as far as weather goes, you guys have the better weather and then Arizona than us, because we do have really cold weather. I mean, and this is a normal for us, and everybody's all up in arms about it, but it's been like 33 when I go to work in the morning.
Really?
And yesterday, I don't think we hit 50 degrees. It was cold, and the wind.
Cold.
Yeah, so we do get the winter, and then we do have spring, and then, of course, our summer is blazing hot, but it is, like they say, a dry heat. So it's a little different than the humidity. We don't have humidity, that's for sure.
I see. Well, I know we've taken time I just wanted to get more of an idea of why you're there, what it's like. I really have been to a lot of places across the country, but I haven't been to a lot of places near you. I've been to Oregon, Portland. I've been to California. I've been to Arizona, but short periods. But I haven't really been to that Las Vegas. Actually, I think I've only been to Las Vegas once in my life, and I've not been there since all the new big stuff. And certainly didn't know that they had places like you were talking about, like where the average person lives. I know you're not average, but you know what I mean. It's just not.
Yes, I do understand.
Yeah.
A lot of people think we live at the Bellagio and we drink martinis by the pool all day, but we work like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's where you are. Okay, so now let's really get down to when you say you work like everybody else. Tell us what you work at.
Well, I kind of have a few hats that I wear. Mainly, I started off mainly running the office, making sure the bills are paid, make sure the staff is taken care of, and then we have our outside independent contractors, our facilitators, and we have those throughout the world. So it was my job to keep up with them and tend to their needs and keep in touch with them and help them with the spreading of the information of the AIM program. And then 4 years ago, things kind of got thrown up in the air with Stephen's passing. And I had been working, closely with him since 1987, so I have known how to test since then. He trained me. So when he passed, that torch was handed to me. So now I do all the testing, the research, the updating of the AIM program, keeping it up to date, and facilitating that information out to the world so that everybody knows what's going on with us. And then also all the advertising or marketing I do too.
And exactly when someone becomes a member of this famous AIM program, what can they expect?
Well, they're going to get the most amazing way to heal your mind, body, and soul ever without really doing a whole lot. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to take anything. You're having energies being sent to you 365 days a year, and it never stops. And so no matter what's going on in your life, you can have balancing energies to help you deal with whatever, I guess it is, that's going on in your life that day. So maybe you wake up in the morning and, one of the kids is sick and you've got to try and find someone to watch them while you try and get to work. And, that's all stressful stuff. Or, there's other great stresses. You got a promotion at work, so now you're going to have a different set of duties to do that can be kind of stressful as well. So these energies help us keep in balance so that we're able to deal with anything that's thrown to us throughout the day and try and keep us in check.
So people, once they join and they send their picture and they fill out their application, is anything else expected of them?
Well, we just tell you to, do what you normally do. If you go to church every Sunday, if you meditate every day, exercise, eat right, all the normal things. There isn't anything you have to change in order to do that. Some people think, well, you're on the AIM program, so you can go out and, do whatever you want, and AIM will take care of it. And that's not the case. AIM doesn't do anything to you. It's a tool being sent to you, and it's up to you to use that tool to heal yourself. And we do that. A lot of people say, well, how do I know what frequencies I need, or how do I know I'm supposed to be doing this? It's subconsciously that your consciousness and your subconscious know what's going on with you and what you need at the time you need it. So that's how you're picking and choosing those frequencies. But we do also tell our participants to still continue doing what you're doing. If you take medication, please don't stop medications, because this isn't in the place of medicine. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure disease. So if you need to go to the doctor for whatever, you want to continue doing that. You don't stop any of that.
But we do know from the wonderful book that Steve wrote, someone had cancer, and by joining AIM, they actually were able to heal themselves. So how does that happen?
Well, when you come on the program, and if a lot of people come on our program, we don't know what's going on with them. So they may be ill, they may not be ill, we don't know. But if they do come on the program, all of those frequencies are being sent to the trays. So if there's something that you need to heal and it's on the program, then you have access to those healing energies. So it is possible that you can heal yourself of a lot of things. It just depends on, where you're at the time. I always think that our minds are a very powerful tool, and they can, when things are said to us, we can either overcome them or succumb to them. So it just depends on how you feel. I have a participant, young man, well, I consider him young. He's in his 60s, and he was diagnosed with third-stage throat cancer.
Really?
And it's kind of interesting, his story, because he had found out that he had this, and he is on AIM, and he said, I was bound and determined this wasn't taking me out. I was going to beat this. And I said, okay. And he was very strong in his mind about how he was going to do this. And he researched, and he went on a particular diet, and he took some herbal supplements along with. He had to do chemo and radiation. He did both. But what was interesting is the way he dealt with it, and the diet and the things he did. He didn't lose his hair, and he didn't lose his body mass.
Really?
He still went to the gym, and he said there were days when he really didn't feel good. And he did, give himself those days to relax. But he kept on with his regimen, and he was able to beat it. And he's now, I think it's 6 years clear.
Really? That must make you so happy. When you have to go in early in the morning, you know why you're doing it.
For sure. Those are the stories that just make you think, yeah, there's a reason why we're here trying to help people, overcome some of these things. And then there's, the stories that are sad that, people that don't come out of it. But it's all, it just depends. And I also think, too, that there is a higher power, and we're going to be on this planet for a period of time. And when that time's up, it doesn't matter what we're doing. And I really do believe that then it might be our time. But the AIM program is here to help us live the best life we can for the time that we're here. So we'll live as healthy as we can, because we are living longer. So living longer is great as long as we can participate.
Have you heard of the Blue Zones?
Yes, we talked about that before.
I just got the book. It's fantastic.
Oh, I'll have to get it.
Yeah, and he was on my radio show. It turns out he really worked for National Geographic, and it took him everywhere. And all of a sudden, he's noticing in certain places how old people are living and how healthy they are, and that's when it kind of turned off all over for him.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, because there's a town, I think is it in Greece?
Yeah, in Greece. There's one in Greece. There's one in Italy. There's one in California. And someone said I don't know, it's true, there is one in Florida. I haven't heard about that yet. Someone said to me, why don't we think about how we can start doing a whole Blue Zone company and help people do that? Yeah,
exactly. Because it's really fascinating. I know we talked about the one in California. It's down in Seal Beach, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's one of the beach areas, and I know they interviewed a lot of the people there and asked them about their lifestyle and what they do. And it's really interesting. A lot of it was social interaction, and I know with the people in Greece when they were speaking with them too, it's the social interaction and the diet. Diet's a big thing.
Oh, yeah. Lots of beans, lots of the good food. And the book is fabulous because it has all these incredible recipes with all this natural stuff.
Wow. I'm going to have to pick up that book and read it, because it was fascinating to me when I heard about it for the first time. And then I know when I traveled to Greece probably like 17 years ago, my other half is Greek, and we went to see his family. So we went there, and it was so neat because there wasn't a lot of people didn't drive. So it was a lot of walking, and the food was amazing. It was just really very simple, but just really good. Everything tasted like a tomato, really tasted like a tomato. And here
Right.
I don't find that very often. It's like I'm in awe when I taste something that actually really does taste like what it's supposed to be.
Right. Well, I just have to tell you that it's something that, of course, in my book, Live to Be 100 Plus, I certainly said a lot of the things, but not like this. This is, you're right. It's sociability, but it's diet and eating the food. Looking at all these unusual foods, and it's living in a climate, I guess, that's good for you. But it's in Japan, and it's like Okinawa. There's a place, I think, in Africa. I think he listed about 4 or 5, but I know it's growing now, definitely.
Wow, that's great. We should maybe I should try and get a Blue Zone here. I wonder if we could do that.
Oh, my goodness. Wouldn't that, you have to just see how people are, maybe they're not living long enough, or they're not eating properly. See, what they did they showed in the book, people who are living a long time, and why are they? That was the whole point. But I see it a different way. Let's get people now to become living in a Blue Zone, because we're going to help them do all those things.
For sure.
Right? That's what I think you were saying.
Yeah. That would be, it's a fascinating thing, and we can all do it. We just have to work at it. It's not an easy thing, and stress is a big one, too.
Oh, yes.
So we all have to lower our stress levels and try and enjoy a little bit more of life. Then I think we all get into that hamster mentality where we just go to work, we come home, we go back to work. It's like, you go to work, you come home and have something to eat, go to sleep, and you get up and do it all over again. And we need to kind of look at that, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's, see now, my mother, her family were Hungarian, and a lot of the foods that she ate and that I learned to eat, I think were the natural foods. My mother never would eat margarine. She'd only eat butter. She always wanted me to have oatmeal. She did eat eggs, but And so there's no meat on this, the Blue Zone. There is some fish, but there is unusual foods. I have the book. I just got it. I wish I could get you one because it's so fantastic. But they sent it to me because I had to interview him, and he's quite an impressive man. So his photography is beyond belief, and I don't know if I think he still works for National Geographic, but it's really gorgeous.
Oh, wow. I can imagine.
So let's go into food. Let's talk about some of your members, some of the people who have joined. Does it ever come up?
As far as food goes?
Yeah.
Definitely. We had a participant who, she's in her 90s, and she still dances, and she's been on the AIM program for, I think she says, she's going to be 93, she says. And she still dances, and she's looking to hit 100. That's her goal.
Right.
And we had another woman who was in her 90s, and she sent us a picture. She's a yoga instructor, and she was doing the splits.
Oh, my God.
And she was incredible. I mean, we have quite a few of our older participants that are just doing fabulous. And I know my mom is one of them, and she reads Boomer Times.
Oh, good.
She loves it.
Good.
And she's got all of her friends reading it.
Okay.
She lives in Arizona.
All right.
And she's going to be 92 in March.
See that?
And she's doing great. And she just, and it's like my grandparents, when you talk about your mom and the way they ate, my grandparents were the same way. My grandmother, she grew a lot of her fruits and vegetables anyway. And when she would come to visit, we always ate all these different vegetables that I wasn't aware of. And she taught me a lot about nutrition, and she was very natural. She cooked all of the meals, and that was just the way. And they always took vitamin C every day. She told me, always take vitamin C every day. And she lived to be 92, I think. And my grandfather over 100.
Huh. Amazing. Well, my grandmother lived to be 25. Now, I mean, to live to be 100. No, 95, excuse me. But think about it. They didn't have any of the things that we had. I mean, and I don't think she exercised, but they didn't have all this kind of food that we eat. They just, made a pot of whatever it was, and they put their vegetables and their meat or whatever in. And I guess they had stress, but I think they also had to walk a lot more because they didn't have the mobility that we had.
Yeah. And that's what these smaller towns, when you go to or you see these places when they show them the blue zones and they show these little towns, a lot of them people don't have cars or very few cars. And they walk to wherever they need to go. And I guess I know here we're so spread out, walking would be quite a chore.
Yeah, it would
to walk
be.
to the grocery store or whatever.
Right.
It's going to be a good couple of miles. So it's a little different, but I think we can still do it, just watching how we eat. And, of course, they don't have all the fast foods either. And I think I'm getting back to our work ethic. We work so much that fast food, we're always eating on the run, it seems like.
That's true.
We don't have a lot of time. So, but I think we can still eat healthier. And I've noticed that a lot of the fast food restaurants are coming up with healthier choices. So we're getting there. We just need to individually, we could pack our own lunches. I do. I bring a lunch to work, and that way I don't have to leave when I get to work.
Right. And you know what's in it.
Exactly. And I can kind of take care of, that kind of thing. And, I'm always watching my weight. So that's the other part of it, too.
Of course.
So.
Yeah, we all know that will help. But let's, this coronavirus, are you affected at all? Are you thinking of putting that on the...
We have it on the program.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I've had so many people contacting me worried about it. We do have a lot of frequencies on the program that we try to, that's my job, to research and keep up and put as many of them on the AIM program as I can find and keep us up to date. And And we are going to be putting a little note in our newsletter so that we can let everyone know that we are working on these things and that we do have them in the database, and I have been adding them. For last 6 months, I think I've added about 17 new frequencies for flus, et cetera, and a few that are in the news. And, and we do have to remember AIM cannot protect us from exposure to these, but when we maintain our high life force, which is our healing capacity, and having the massive numbers of additional targeted balancing energies that I've been able to put on the program available to us 24/7, it gives our AIM participants kind of more of a head start. And combined with that, with what we talked about, our good self-care practices, it can hopefully keep our challenges to a minimum. And that's my goal.
Yeah, that would be really one. I think you could increase your membership if we could figure out how you could really talk about that.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, because we don't practice medicine and we're not doctors, it kind of, and we're using frequencies, so their frequencies are a little different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to, I don't want to challenge any medical
powers. Well, just so you know, and you are aware, and it's a very good thing. So I feel more protected being on AIM because of it, and I hope everybody else does. But Roberta, it's been great as usual. This was a little unusual because I wanted to hear all about where you live and what goes on out there, but I do understand it more, and I'm still hoping one day to come out there and to be with you, but hopefully you're going to come down here maybe before I even do that.
Yeah, you never know, because I have a new great-nephew due tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
And they're in Florida.
All right, good. Well, Roberta, thank you very much for taking your time, and good luck with everything, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Bye.
Bye.